Now on to the soaps. And Christmas Day saw viewers wave an emotional goodbye to one of Coronation Street's longest-serving residents, Gail Platt, actress Helen Worth.
It's not goodbye, is it, Gail?
No, Sam. It's just au revoir.
Ready as I'll ever be, Mr. Chadwick.
Are you ready, Mrs. Chadwick?
Ready as I'll ever be, Mr. Chadwick.
Oh, and we're joined today by a fellow cobbles icon who knows only too well what it's like spending most of your life on a soap, having just started at the age of 15. Please welcome Simon Gregson.
Oh my God, you're real.
Look at you.
Look,
in the flesh,
He's
walk
real.
amongst you.
Walking through the doors open, and there you were. Now, tell us, everyone must have been asking you about the Gail Platt. Did you give anything away? Were there any spoilers that you nearly gave away about Gail leaving?
No, not really. There wasn't really an opportunity to give anything away. I'm a bit of a recluse. I don't really go out anywhere where someone could shove a mic in my face and ask me the question. But, you know, it was a bit of a shock at first when we found out she was going.
Yeah.
Because, obviously, she's part of the furniture. She's always been there.
Yeah.
And, but I totally get it, you know, 50 years.
I mean, you're catching up. You're not far behind, are you?
I started my 36th year yesterday.
Wow.
October, it was 36.
That's incredible. Does it feel like 36 years?
No, it feels like 36 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, it's great. It's just so much fun, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, you guys know what it's like, you know? You guys do this day in, day out. You know all the crew, you know all the production.
Yeah.
And you just become really good friends, especially, you know, 15 when I started.
And Helen must have seen you grow in that
Yeah,
whole
absolutely,
time. What was
yeah.
your last scene with Helen like? Did you feel a bit emotional saying goodbye to her, knowing that it was your...
I didn't have any scenes with her.
Not
I've
in
not
the
been involved in that storyline, no.
No, but you must have had some scene with her.
I mean, obviously, me and Helen have done lots of scenes in the past.
Yeah.
But that was long before I knew she was leaving. I don't think I've had a scene.
You don't think you've done one since you knew she was leaving?
No. No, I've had scenes with John Thompson.
There's a reason for her to come back.
Do you think you're like your real character?
Well, yeah, because, you know, I think in many ways, because when I first started, I had no idea what I was doing.
You were 15 when you started, weren't you?
Yeah, I was 14 when I got the job, 15 when I started working, but I didn't want to be an actor. I wanted to join the armed forces. So I got this role by accident. And I had to learn what I was doing on the job. So I just kind of said it like I meant it, which I guess is what acting is. Say it like you mean it. Hopefully everyone else will believe it. And so, yeah, a lot of... I just said the lines like I would say them, and so there is a lot of similarity there.
Yeah.
Could you actually imagine life without Corrie, though? You've been in it so long.
I couldn't really know. It is a part of my life. I was saying the other day, you know, if we were ever to be fortunate enough to win the Euro Millions, well, how nice would that be? For everybody to win it. I think I'd still have to work. Yeah, I'd miss it. Because the thing is with us, you know, we have a green room. And we're all in there. And it's a weird and wonderful life being, you know, for want of a better word, famous. I got told off for calling myself famous once. I don't know why. But it was... So when we're in the green room, we're all together. You only truly know 100% what it's like to be in that show if you're in that show.
Yeah.
So all of us, we have our own little therapy group in the green room.
It's like a little bubble, isn't it? But then saying that, with you growing up on that show, they must have had a lot of, like, they've seen you go through a lot, and on-screen and off-screen. But on-screen, I believe you've been married 7 times on that show.
Yeah.
Right? So I have a question for you, and you didn't know I was going to ask you this. Can you name all your wives on Coronation Street?
Well, I think there was only 5 who got married twice. So there was Vicky first.
Right.
Then there was Karen.
Yeah.
Tracy.
That was Tracy. Yeah.
Becky and Michelle.
There was another one.
Becky twice and Sarah.
Oh,
and
Becky
Karen
twice.
That makes 7.
Tracy? Did you mention her?
Yeah, Tracy.
Yeah.
Oh, so you did?
I've got the job.
Well done for remembering all your wives' names, Henry VIII.
Yeah. Don't know my real wife's name.
No, true. And is there more love down the line for Steve? Is it coming?
There might be, you know. The writers love hapless Steve. You know, that's just what they want.
Yeah.
They just love Steve being in all sorts of trouble all the time. So.
Yeah.
And they'd like him being beaten up and told off and slapped by women. So.
Can I ask how it is for you? Because it's been such a long time and you have grown up and you've had to juggle family life, your kids. How have you managed to do that with the schedule? How have you managed that?
The schedules used to be crazy back in the day, you know, when we were at 5. We're at 6 a week now, so... And there's a lot of cast. So, you know, you do find yourself having a lot of time off now at home.
Right.
Because there's just so many cast members now.
Right.
But back in the day, like when Kim Marsh playing Michelle, and Kate Kelly, Becky, and Fordy as well, Kate, who plays Tracy Barlow, although she'd been there a lot longer. I'm digressing massively. The schedules were huge.
Yeah.
You know, if you're in a big storyline, you were in at 7:30, you were home by 7, 8 o'clock, and then you have 10, 12 scenes to learn for the next day, and that was week in, week out, month in, month out. That's hard. That's hard work. I think Henry, my youngest, out the 3 boys, is the only one I've really had a lot of time with since he was born. The other 2, especially Alfie, my eldest, guy in the middle. You know, I was working a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Talking of children, is it right that you've got a children's book coming out and our Sue Cleaver helped you?
I've got
I
wrote a children's book called The Dream Dragon. I started it about 12, 13 years ago. Because the boys, my elder 2, Harry, Alfie, they kept having night terrors. So I told them that I had a dragon called the Dream Dragon, which would beat up the nightmares and scare them off. Oh. And they believed it. And I had to embellish on this story often. And I was telling a couple of the ladies at work, and they said, you should write it down. 12 years later, I did.
Though? Sue Cleaver, because she's on the panel.
I saw Sue in the green room. I said, I don't know whether it's for me. Me writing a book, you know. And Sue said, look, if you tell yourself you can't, then you won't.
Yeah.
You know, anyone can write a book, so why can't you?
And that comes out this year, does it?
Hopefully. We've had a bit of interest. Penguin have shown a bit of interest. It's going to other publishers.
That's great, especially because you know it helped your son. It's actually got proof. It's got a track record, hasn't it? This helped your kids, so you're going, maybe this will help yours, which I think is a great thing. At the end of last year, to mark 25 years of Loose Women, we were live on air for 25 hours of continuous talking. It was amazing. It was all for the fantastic cause, raising money for ITV's Britain Get Talking mental health charities, which were Mind, Young Minds and Scottish Action for Mental Health. Now, I know this is a subject, Simon, that you're incredibly passionate about because you've done a lot of work on yourself with mental health, and you're also trying to open up your boys to being able to talk about it.
Yeah, with me, it all kind of came to a head in about 2015. I kept having anxiety attacks. Panic attacks, which is so bizarre because I've been having them all day today.
No!
I know, I met him in the corridor and he was having a panic attack.
Yeah, I was like, there's no way I can go, on.
But that just goes to show how normal we all are, because these are things that happen. You don't know when it's going to happen, do you? And when it does, you've got to be able to handle it.
It just comes, you know, it just hits you like a ton of bricks and it just makes you completely incapacitated.
When did you first find these symptoms started?
Well, I've been having them since about 1990. But I just kind of got on with it, you know. But then when I had children and stuff like that, and they were noticing it, and they started talking that they're getting anxious, and I thought, I've passed it on. Oh my God, it's like a cold. I've given it them. And
how did you treat it when you first thought, oh, something's going on? Obviously, the word panic attacks, it's quite a random thing for a guy to be thinking he's having. What did you think they were?
Well, I had no idea, so I had to go. I had private health, luckily, so I had every kind of test known to man. They were doing brain scans, ECTs. I saw ear, nose, and throat guys. They thought I had a dislodged crystal in my inner ear.
Oh,
I kept
wow.
going dizzy. I was having heart monitors. I was going through great big massive machines.
Oh my!
Because I was just constantly ill, and they couldn't get to the bottom of it.
But at the time, you weren't sort of handling it the best way. You were medicating with other.
I was,
things,
there was self-medication. I mean, you know, it's an unfortunate thing, but it's a true thing. You know, alcohol is a very good short-term cure.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it could be a long-term problem.
Yeah.
And, you know, whatever gets you through the night, right?
Exactly.
Said the Beatles.
Yeah.
And that was it. But unfortunately, it can become a habit. Luckily, it wasn't a massive habit for me, but it was a good crutch. It was a good... It was a useful tool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And was it sharing it with your colleagues? Did that help you as well? Because you said you had
I think, you know, when you go on
family.
set... I mean, it was like today, I didn't think I could come on here today.
Don't.
But I
You're
thought,
doing
well,
amazing.
I've got to. So, you know, you work yourself through it. But I had to be completely open with everybody and say, look, I'm having anxiety.
But it's amazing because actually the reason you are doing this is because you want to share how real this is and you want to be able to raise the awareness so that other people aren't sitting at home going
weird.
through the worst version of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the best thing to do is talk. The other good thing to do is go and see your GP and find out whether all these ailments and these mystery illnesses, like the press used to call it, is an anxiety issue. Because knowing what it is makes you feel 50% better. Because then you're like, I feel weird. Why do I feel weird?
Yeah.
And then when somebody puts a label on how you feel, you're like, I instantly feel a bit better, you know, knowing what's wrong with me.
And are your boys good at talking to you about their worries?
Yeah, the boys are great. And I think this generation of this generation, the kids' generation, are a lot more open anyway. I think my generation and our generations and your generation.
Yeah, I know, it's true.
It was kind of hush. Nobody spoke about it. It was taboo, and I don't think anybody knew about it. It was never really researched and stuff.
Yeah.
But I went to Switzerland. I had the opportunity to go there to this centre for people with stuff like this. We were there to give them advice on how they could improve it before they opened. It was a great opportunity. And we went... It was free, thank God, because it's about £250,000 a month, this place.
No.
So not everyone could experience it. But it was like school. So we were educated on how the brain works, and it's fascinating. So there's a great book called The Chimp Paradox that goes into it, and I recommend that to everybody.
I know it. It's really good.
So it's all about how your brain works in different parts of your brain. So I recommend that to everybody.
And actually, that's the key is education, isn't it? Like people talking, number one, which you're doing, and it's great to see people that others recognise
also
talking
men.
about this, and men, of
To be
course.
honest,
Yeah,
I
men
think
are
it's
shocking at it.
fantastic that you are sitting here on your platform talking, because I think men do need to be more aware.
Yeah, they don't say
and
anything.
need
I
to
did
talk
a storyline where Steve had depression. I hated it. But it highlighted my problems, so it was good in the end. Every cloud. But guys have come up to me... Guys have come up to me in pubs and clubs, and usually that spell, right, here we go, it's going to kick off, which it used to do. But they came over and said, thank you, after the storyline, I've got help. So...
Well, exactly.
Help a lot of people by talking. So.
Absolutely.
Well
and
done,
thank you for sharing that with all of us today. But look, the talking doesn't stop here, because just £10 could help one of mine's helpline advisors pick up the phone to someone who may have nowhere else to turn. To give £30, £20 or £10, text 30, 20 or 10 to 70870. Texts cost your donation plus one standard rate message, and you must be 16 or over. And please ask the bill payer's permission. 100% of your donation will go to our Britain Get Talking charities.